Hello everybody, today we're going to have another discussion of Kamen Rider. This time it's going to be something similar with the whole incomplete and complete super form, but this time I'm going to talk about something else. This time it's going to be something interesting with it's going to be super form to final form, or like a evolution of a super form. It's pretty interesting that I've been waiting to talk about this because I see it's pretty interesting that most of Heisei have actually done this, but it seems like I haven't done much at all after I think XA was the last time they actually done this. Let me explain that we start from the beginning of what is the first super form to final form. Like it's like an evolution, or it leads up to the final form, or it needs something from the super form to make the final form. And interestingly, technically, Kuga could be considered as an amazing form, but that doesn't really count too much, and we don't see it become ultimate form. So technically, I guess the first one would probably be Agito. Like, let's start with Agito. Burning the Shining, and interestingly, burning the super form, but then he actually breaks apart. Like, he goes under the sun and actually breaks down the burning form to reveal Shining form. Which I actually really like seeing. Actually pretty interesting, no other writer has done this in either the rest of Heisei or the rest of Reiwa right now, because it's interesting that this has not been a thing, because another thing is pretty much sharing the same power, because or sharing the same little transformation gimmick as we see with technically Blade and Den-O. Blade and Den-O is interestingly because Blade needs a little route absorber with Absorb Queen to transform to Jack form, like Fusion Jack, but also uses the same little Absorb Queen and Round Absorber with Evolution King to make the Blade Rider become in their king form, as we saw in the show. And actually the same thing happened with Den-O, as Den-O needs the super form Climax using the Keitaro cell phone to make him become Kamen Rider, like his super form being Climax, similar to Blade. Hey, that they use something like some sort of same technology, because Den-O also uses the same Keitaro phone to make a different button to call upon the little Den Common Sword, like make it put the pass inside of it to become liner form. So it's pretty interesting to see how these two shows are pretty much similar, how they use the same little super form evolution to final form, but this time it's different from Agito, and this time it actually just use that same technology thing, and that they use some sort of weapon or some sort of item to make them acquire both the super and final form in the same way. It's just they use a different method to find out which form they need to have. I don't know, I just found interesting about that. And interestingly, Hibiki is technically different as well, as Hibiki also gets his super form being Kurenai, which is just red fire all over his form. But then interestingly, he needs it to activate in order to become his final form, because he gets the arm saber later in the episode, and then he uses the arm saber, like make a little cry or a shout inside of it, to make him transform into Kurenai immediately, with this animal coming to him. To add like little armor to his form to make it evolve further to armored Hibiki. It's a little bit different, that it's pretty interesting that it's pretty much adding armor to a super form, and that it's pretty interesting that whenever he actually calls on the sword, it immediately transforms into Kurenai, his super form. And it seems like he needs to have a super form in order to make it become armored. So it's pretty interesting this little aspect, seeing how Hibiki actually goes like this. But after that, no, there's not really much, as Kiba doesn't have a super form, doesn't acquire to his final form. And as a matter of fact, I think he only used like once or twice, that Dokebachi or whatever it's called. Decade doesn't really have a super form either, and then Double doesn't have a super form as Fang, but it doesn't need it to become final form. Neither does O's or Forze or Wizard. They don't really have anything. Gaim is the next one that actually has it. I remember the Kachidoki arm to become Kiwame, but they need to open a piece of driver to get it. With the same little piece of driver used to upgrade the Jimber, like an upgrade form, the Jimber arm. And interestingly, the Kachidoki to Kiwami arm, they add the Kiwami little fruit basket lock seed to the side of Kachidoki. As we reveal Kachidoki's real form, and then it crashes, like all the fruits crash into him, and it's taking the armor out, revealing the Kiwami arm. Which is pretty cool to see that you need the previous, kind of similar to Hibiki, that you need the previous super form need to be activated first. Like whenever you put the Kachidoki and Kiwami arm together, it's interesting that some of the Kachidoki arm first, and then the fruit basket later crash into him to make the Kiwami form. So kind of similar to Hibiki, that he needs to have a super form, because I'm pretty sure the lock seed won't work at all without a super form. And interestingly, we see that with X-Aid as well, because after Gain, Drive doesn't need it. Formula and Type Trideron don't actually need each other. Similar to Ghost, that Ghost actually needs a new driver to make Graceful, and then he just comes back to the original driver to make a Mugen. Isn't the X-Aid the next one? At X-Aid had Maximum Gamer level 99, the little giant mech suit that becomes Muteki Gamer. It's pretty interesting that you need to have the Maximum Gamer like Gashat put it inside the little the driver, and then need to immediately put on the Muteki Gamer on top of the little transformation. And then he had to hit both of them at the same time to activate it. And same thing as the mech he needs to transform to the mech first, and then he pops out to absorb all the little golden peat to become Muteki Gamer. So kind of similar to Gaim, that he needs to actually have he needs a conjunction with a previous super form little gimmick to transform into its final form. And I feel like Gaim and Exo are kind of the same, but interestingly, this seems to be the last one they do, because Bill doesn't need Tank or Rabbit to become Genius. Neither does Geo 2 doesn't need to transform into Grand Geo. And then Reiwa hasn't done it at all. 01 just changes the driver. The Saber just changes the sword to be from the base form. Revi just gets a new driver, and Geach doesn't need laser boost at all. He just becomes Mach 9. And seemingly from Kamen Rider Gotchard, we saw with the leaks and all that, he's not going to use Platinum Gotchard to become Rainbow, or whatever it's going to be called. Or maybe we might be wrong. Maybe it could change something, but we'll have to wait and see. It was pretty fascinating that they haven't really done much of it outside of X8. I've been wondering to know if they were ever do this again. And it's pretty interestingly that out of all these riders that usually use a super form that leads up to a final form, or a super form is the base of a final form, or they add something to it. It's pretty interesting that technically only 6 riders, because I do know Showa era don't have any super form or final form. Technically Stronger the only one that had the final form, if we counted that. But yeah, technically that's it. There's only like 6 riders who ever had interesting little idea of having a super form equal to a final form. And it's pretty interesting to see if we will ever get one, because it'd be pretty interesting to have somebody like transform to super form and be similar to who like Hibiki, because Hibiki, interesting, they all it is just adding armor to his super form to make a final form. Agito is just breaking apart to reveal a super form, a final form. It's pretty interestingly that it's kind of similar to Agito, similar to Gaim or X8, because it seems like the final form is just the super form real form. Because Gaim Kachitoki Kiwami is just Kachitoki true power, and Muteki Gamer is just like one level above Maximum Gamer or something like that to make him Muteki, and then Agito is just breaking down, burning under the sun to destroy, to become shining. And just like any final form, it's just pretty much the same thing. They just immediately transform to their final form near the end of this show. Remember Akito just immediately turned to Shining to fight against the guy for the darkness guy also, and also X8 in that movie. He just transforms into X8 Muteki Gamer immediately. But even then, he still needs the Maximum Gamer. To actually become Muteki. I find it pretty interesting because it seems like they need a super form, because I know for a fact, like I mentioned before, that if Gaim loses Kachitoki or X8 loses his Maximum Gamer, they can't actually become their final form. Gaim will have to continue, because Kiwami Lockteam for Gaim won't do anything. And X8 Muteki Gamer will just make it be invisible for a couple of minutes. Similar to what happened with, I think, I remember correctly, happened with Kuroto, where he actually just used the Muteki Gamer on his side, as well as the other riders, and then it just shuts down, because it's kind of like a Mario star power, just lasts a couple seconds. I do want to see something similar, maybe from Blade or Den-O, because both they have the same technology. Like I said, Blade, you have the Rhodes Absorber, and Den-O had the Keitaro cell phone, and they use both of the same technology and the same little passcode to make them acquire both forms, a super and final. I also want to know if this is actually a wave. I really want to know, like, what you guys think. Like, I want to know if you guys want to see something similar, or if you guys ever thought about that this might be a thing, or if you want to see, like what are your ideas? Because my idea is pretty much the same kind of way. I kind of wanted this something similar to probably Den-O or Blade, because just having the same technology, it'd be pretty funny if we could have a rider just use the driver and then use a little device that just adding one code makes them become an upgrade, and then another code makes it a super form, and then another code makes it a final form. That'd be pretty funny, but I don't think that's gonna happen, because Toei might want to sell more toy. Because if they actually do that, they're only gonna sell one little gimmick of a rider season, and they don't want to just do that. So that might be one reason why they actually stopped doing this. Another reason probably just that they just want to actually find a way to get more money out of us. That I don't know, that's probably just a joke, but it might be one of the reasons why they stopped doing this. They want us to, also maybe the way to fight, maybe unique, but I think it will be more unique, because super forms are pretty much a character evolution, a character arc is over for most of these seasons. It's just that their final form is just a little extra for them. Specifically with Gaim, because I know Gaim, like Kajidoki, pretty much the end of his character arc for the most part, and that Kiwami is just a form that he just gets a little bonus after a little bit more trials and tribulations to show that he's ready to have it. Agito with Burning, also the same thing that he just gets in, then Shiny comes in. I'll let you watch the little special about Shiny, then you will probably just think Shiny just came out of nowhere. I don't know, I digress. Overall, what do you guys think? Do you want to see something similar to that, or have you guys thought of this? Or what else do you guys think is actually similar? Or maybe you guys found a different writer show that actually has something similar that I may have missed. Leave a comment down below and tell me what else I should talk about as we talk more about Kamen Rider. Peace.